Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Abroad with M. Today I'm going to go through my Portugal itinerary with you guys. I'm super excited to share this one because I've had so many people asking. The places in Portugal that I've been to are Lagos, Lisbon, and Madeira Island, and they're specifically Lagos and Madeira Island are two of my favorite places like ever. So I'm so excited to jump in and get started. Baby, we can turn back time. Do it all over again. Tomorrow we can press rewind. So just like my other itinerary videos, I have all the links, all the descriptions, all the everything, all the places I stayed, things I do, everything is linked in the description below. So you can check out those links, check out those details. And then at the end of this video, I'll also have like a full summary of everything that I talk about that you guys can screenshot. So hopefully that's nice and helpful, but yeah, let's get started. So first of all, for transportation, I've been to Portugal twice. And both times it's always been my final destination of my backpacking trip, which just makes it easy because then it's easy to fly home and cheap to fly home from there afterwards. If you're coming from Canada to the States like I am, it makes it for a lot cheaper flight than starting further off on the east of Europe. So it's a good place to start, a good place to finish if you're planning on going to multiple countries. If not, then doesn't matter. But how we got along around throughout the country was usually by bus. A bus we came from Seville in Spain to Lagos. That was a 4.5-hour bus, was $10. We went from Lagos to Lisbon. That was like a 2.5-hour bus. That was $12. So I find the buses there to be incredibly cheap. You could also rent a car on Madeira Island. We rented a car the whole time. There is also trains, but honestly, I find trains to be like the most expensive way to get around Europe most of the time. Most of the time flying or just like taking the time to go on a bus is usually the same amount of time and like way cheaper. So the websites that I usually use are Trainline, Rome to Rio, or Flixbus. All of those give the options of like trains and buses and everything, not just like Trainline isn't just for trains, like it gives the option of buses as well and makes it very easy to book. So definitely recommend those websites. Okay, so the first place that we're going to talk about is Lagos. So like I said, we came here from Seville and took a bus there, which was super easy, super straightforward, especially because the airport closest to Lagos is Faro, which is about like an hour and 15 minutes away. So definitely like recommend a bus or renting a car if you're close. We were originally going to stay in the Banana Beach hostel. I was super excited about this before we left for the trip because it's like a really cool surfer vibe hospital, I'm a nurse, hostel where they do like surf lessons and like family dinners and a bunch of different activities, yoga. It's like such a vibe. But at this point, it was the end of our trip. My sister and I were getting kind of tired of being in hostels and just wanted our own space. So we ended up staying at the Woot Lagos Mamere Hotel. I have that linked below. I have both of them linked below in the description. And this was perfect for us. It was in the perfect location. A lot of the cliffs in Lagos are kind of like off to the side. And then there's Lagos Old Town, and it's all in walking distance. It's all pretty close to each other, but instead of staying in Lagos Old Town where most people stay, we kind of wanted to stay in the middle. So we were close to the beaches, close to the cliffs, but also just like a 10-minute walk away from the Lagos Old Town, and it was a bit quieter. So we loved it. Here, I will provide some pictures and everything, and all the details are below, but it was the perfect location, so highly recommend that. Okay, so we spent a couple of days here and they were amazing. I loved it. And the first day we did a hike along the cliffs with all the different like caves and stuff looking down at them, and it was amazing. Like went down to all the different beaches. So I'm gonna go through and kind of tell you all the different lookouts and beaches that we stopped at. And I'm going to pronounce all of them wrong, so bear with me. But we started at Ponta Da Piedade. So from our hotel, from Woot Hotel, it was only like a 15-minute walk. And walking there is like walking straight there, just kind of like on the main road. And then you walk like all along the cliffs, which is just absolutely stunning. It's like you have to do it if you're going to Lagos. It's like the thing to do. So you can either start in Lagos Old Town and kind of make your way to Ponta Da Piedade and then kind of cut back, or start Ponta Da Piedade, make your way to Lagos Old Town and then end up there. We wanted to start in Ponta Da Piedade so we could end in the Lagos Old Town and then get like dinner and stuff. So that worked out really well for us. So we just walked straight there from our hotel, and then started there. You can do like a little boat trip from Ponta Da Piedade, but I recommend like waiting and doing that later, and starting that more from like the old town, because then you kind of get to see more. But they do offer like little boat tours within the caves down there, which is definitely something to do, but I would wait to do it a bit later. And then we started walking along the coast. There's like usually like a nice boardwalk that you can walk on, and if not, it's a pretty laid out path, so it's beautiful and such a nice walk. So the first stop that we stopped at was Praia Da Blanca, then Praia de Pinrose. Then we had lunch at a restaurant called Restaurant Camilo. It looks out over the cliffs, over the beaches. It's beautiful. The food is so good. It's a little bit pricier, but like so worth it, especially when you're like doing this hike. And if you like go cheaper later in the day, then I think it's worth it to splurge one meal a day. But I'll link some pictures in of the food that we had, because we got these amazing salads. And then Praia Do Camilo, so that's right where the restaurant is. You just walk down to the beach, and there's a nice beach and like these cool caves you can walk through. It's really nice. And then we went to Praia Da Blanca, Praia Donia Ana, and like that's another beach that's really nice to swim at. And there's just so many more, like there's just so many beautiful beaches there. So those were just the ones that we decided to stop at. And then over by the Lagos Old Town, there's a ton more. There's like that classic cliff. I'll pull up the name of it, I can't remember it at the moment, but that classic like kind of bridge that looks out over the beach, which is really cool. So yeah, like so many beautiful places to stop. And then we ended that in Lagos Old Town, and like got some food there, and then decided that we wanted to do a boat tour of the cliffs that we had just walked above. So when I travel, I love to see things from the water and then from up high. So I really wanted to do a boat tour. So from the port there, we just found an excursion there, and we got on a boat and did all along where we had just walked. We went through all the caves and like around all of everything, went through all these arches. I'll provide some videos and pictures, but it was incredible. Like you definitely need to see it from both angles. They also rent kayaks and do a bunch of different like excursions like that as well. I just find I get to see a lot more when I'm on a boat, but the kayak would be amazing as well. So highly recommend all of that stuff.
Keep me walking on the same line. When we get high in my breakdown, we're just watching from the same time. But that don't change when I break down. Think we were talking about the same crime. No, it don't hurt when it rains down. Learn my lesson at the same time. Ooh, 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 where did it go? Back home's never the first.
Lagos Old Town is also such a vibe. When we first got there, there was like amazing live music playing right downtown, and like we just stopped and like got a drink and some food, and like there's always stuff going on. It's like it's a very like artsy vibe type of place. Lots of live music. It was a really fun place to be. So highly recommend checking that out, checking out some of the restaurants. Our favorite restaurant there was the Garden. It does fill out fast, so your first day there, I recommend just like going and putting your name down for the next night or something. But it was so good and like such a cool spot. We also got burritos at El Padrino. I'll link it in. And we got those to go. They were so good. Just got a bottle of wine from like the grocery store and went to watch the sunset at Praia de Banco do Marino. Again, everything is linked below because I can't say any of it. But that was amazing. So beautiful. The burritos were so good, but there's also like so many other restaurants that we didn't get to experience, and so many cute shops, and there's a little market along the water. So there's just like so many like nice places to be. So definitely take some time to check out Lagos Old Town as well.
He's gonna say, he knows sunshine is gone. I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel it with somebody. Yeah, I wanna dance with somebody.
then on our second day in Lagos, we decided to take the bus to Sagres. This is another beautiful beach town, and the surfing there is amazing. It's known like very highly for its surfing. So of course we wanted to check that out. There's a couple ways to get there. You can rent a car, you can take the bus, or you could also rent mopeds. I so wish we rented mopeds, but we just decided to do this pretty last minute and it didn't like work out timing wise. So we didn't do that. We just took the bus, which was the cheapest option. But if you want to, like, it did take a while on the bus. So if you want to be like the most efficient, I would do a moped or just renting a car or taking an Uber or something like that. But if you want to save money, then definitely take the bus. It was pretty straightforward. It was just like they made a lot of stops. And Sagres is a 30-minute drive if you're just doing it regular by drive. And I think the bus was like over an hour, but I mean, it wasn't too bad. It was a beautiful bus ride. And then we surfed at, what was the beach called? Praia do Camilo. There's a couple beaches there, but that one was the one that had the best waves that day, so that's where we went. You can either rent surfboards right in the Sagres town, which is what we did, but then when we got to the beach, we realized they were renting surfboards right on the beach, so we were like, ugh, we didn't have to carry our surfboards all throughout the town to get to the beach. But if you're surfing at one of the other beaches that might have better waves that day, then you might need to rent in town. So there is options. There's a couple cute restaurants, but it's like beautiful cliffs and stuff there and a gigantic beach. So it was really cool to switch it up and go to a different spot. We really loved it and the waves were amazing. So definitely recommend checking that out as well.
And this place is seriously dope. I just caught some gnarly waves, about 7 or 8 really good ones, turned and everything.
Okay, so after Lagos, we went to Madeira Island, and I cannot recommend Madeira Island enough. It is absolutely amazing. Everyone says it's like the Hawaii of Europe, and it totally met those expectations. We absolutely loved it. So we went from Lagos to Lisbon, which was a $12 bus, about 2.5 hours, I think it was, or 2 hours. And then we went from Lisbon airport to Madeira. You have to fly there, and flew into Funchal, and that was about $70 one way. It obviously ranges throughout the year, but it's definitely very affordable. And then we stayed right in Funchal. Madeira Island is quite small. Like, we saw most of the island in 2 days. Obviously, you want to spend a lot more time there if you can, because there's so much to see, but we like literally drove around most of the island in 2 days. And Funchal is a very like central location to kind of like get to everywhere and is in a good spot. So we rented a car with 7M rental car, and they were great. We paid for them to come and pick us up from the airport because we got in really late, and then we rented the car for 2 days and then dropped it off in Funchal and just took a bus back to the airport because it was cheaper that way. But they have a bunch of different options for like where to pick you up, where to drop off the car, etc., etc. And yeah, they were awesome. They gave us a cute little car, like had a little convertible roof. It's like a little smart car, and it was perfect for the island. We loved it. So yeah, and then we stayed at Zarco Bed and Breakfast. It was right downtown Funchal, like a couple second walk from the ocean, and it was perfect. It came with complimentary breakfast, and yeah, just a really great location. It doesn't have parking, so we did just pay for parking at like a local overnight parking spot just like down the street from the hotel, but it was a perfect spot to stay, very central, and yeah, we loved it. So our first full day on Madeira Island, we did a big road trip, and we literally made our way around most of the island. I'll pull up a picture of kind of all the stops we made. But it was like one of my favorite days of the whole trip. We saw so much. The island is so beautiful. Driving literally anywhere on that island is just absolutely stunning. So we started our road trip going towards a place called Sexual Beach. But on the way there, I'm also gonna say everything wrong here too. But on the way there, we stopped at Casada de Vu de Nova. It's a waterfall where the waterfall is literally like going off the cliffs right into the ocean. It's super cool, super beautiful. I'll link in a couple pictures. And then from there, we went to Praia do Sexual. I honestly, I'm so embarrassed at the lack of things I know how to say in this video, but they're all like Portuguese sayings. But it's a beautiful, 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 beautiful beach. It's been the screensaver on my phone since we were there almost a year ago. If you like surfing, the surf is great there. It's a great spot to have a picnic, just walk around. It's a beautiful beach. And then you can walk kind of around the other side of the bay there, and they have like natural swimming pools, like natural volcanic like hot pools there. So we went over to those and kind of swam in those for a bit. So that was super cool. And those ones are free, like totally like natural way that they're made. But then we also went over to Porto Mona's natural pools. So those ones are more man-made pools, but they're still like naturally there, but just like man-made a bit more. And it's a $5 entry fee. You get a locker and then you can go swimming there. So those were super, super, super cool. The day we were there, it wasn't like super warm and it was really, really windy. So part of the pool was closed off. But if you got a good weather day, like I would literally spend all day there. It was so cool. And it's got like a nice little town there to get some food and stuff. So that was super cool. And then we went up to a lookout, which was just close by to those natural pools. And it was called Marinero Porta de Ladera. It's a really beautiful lookout that kind of looks over the cliffs, looks over the ocean. And we weren't there for sunset, but apparently it's like one of the best places, or it's a really beautiful place at least to go for sunset on the island. So that would be a super cool thing to do there as well. And then we kind of went over to the other side of the island after that, and we went to Ponta da Lorenzo. There's a lot of beautiful hikes that you can do kind of around that edge. It's more on the eastern coast of Madeira Island. We just kind of went there at the end of the day and just went to a nice like lookout spot there. But if we had more time, I would have loved to do the hike there. Everyone says it's one of the best ones there. So that was super cool too. And yeah, just so many more stops that you can do around the island, so many hikes. But I did a ton of research and those were kind of the main things that I wanted to see. And that was like a full day of different activities and different places to stop, because we then went back to Funchal after that and got dinner in the town, and then went to bed early because we woke up for a sunrise hike the next day. So yeah, so much to see, but those are the ones that we chose to prioritize.
Always summer on the west coast, fall in love with someone that you don't know, dance until the morning with our eyes closed. Tonight we're going where the night goes. It's always summer when you're with me, glitter on your skin making me dizzy, dance until the morning with our eyes closed. Tonight we're going where the night goes. Baby, we're not living for tomorrow. Baby, we're not living for tomorrow.
I just want to note on all of that another way that you can do it instead of renting a car is that you can just book like a full day excursion through Vider. So they have a lot of different options of taking you to a lot of the same places that I kind of just mentioned, but then they provide a tour bus and do a tour group that's like a full day excursion that takes you all of those different places. So if you don't want to do the stress of renting a car or worry about parking or insurance or any of that kind of stuff, this is a way that you can see a lot of the island in an easier way. I personally love having the flexibility of staying however long I want and going to where I want and just being able to do what I want. But if you want a bit more of a stress-free way to see the island, then that's definitely a good option as well. And I've linked the link to that down below. Okay, the next morning we checked a thing off the bucket list that I've had on there for a long time. And we did the hike Pico de Arrero to Pico de Ruro. Again, saying that wrong for sure, but it is a 10-kilometer hike and we did it at sunrise. So what's really unique about this hike is it starts right at the top of Pico de Arrero. So you literally drive right to the top of the mountain, and then so it's like perfect to see the sunrise because you literally just drive right to the top, watch the sunrise, kind of start the hike while the sun is rising. And there's some incredible lookouts and incredible places to stop. And then you kind of hike down the mountain a little bit, and then you hike up Pico de Arrero, and then you hike back down and then back up. So instead of it being like an up and down, it's like down, up, kind of like in a saddle kind of. But oh my goodness, this hike is absolutely insane. If you've seen any Madeira TikToks, you've definitely seen this hike. It's been on Beautiful Destinations Instagram page so many times. Like, it's so cool. They have this one spot called like Stairway to Heaven, and it's just like epic stairs that just go up and it looks like you're just like traveling right up to heaven. Unfortunately, the day we went, it was kind of cloudy. The sun did peek out and I got some sick pictures, but you couldn't see as much as I would have liked to see, and we were constantly going in and out of the clouds, and then when we got to the top, we were like completely covered by clouds. So that was a bit of a rip because we had done this whole hike just to see nothing, but it was the only day that we could do it, so we made the best of it. But if you're staying for a couple of days, definitely choose like your best weather day to do this hike because you want to be able to see as much as you can, and if you get good weather, you can literally see the ocean, and it's just super, super cool. I really want to go back and do it again on a better weather day, but definitely go at sunrise. It makes it easy to get parking, and it's just like epic to be able to see the sunrise there as well. And then they have a cute little cafe there at the end where we got like some coffee and some cakes. So yeah, that was a super, super sick thing to do there, and it was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go to Madeira in the first place was to do this hike. So highly recommend.
I know exactly where we should go, 'cause I love the way the green eyes mix with that Malibu indigo. Talking under pink skies, I think our hearts are starting to show that it's better you and I under pink skies.
Another thing about that hike too that I quickly want to mention is that you don't have to do the whole thing. Like you could literally just drive to the top of Pico de Herrero and kind of hike like a little bit down and then kind of just hike a little bit up. I know a lot of people have done that too who don't want to spend the time or do the full hike, and they just kind of want to do the cool part, because most of the cool part is at the beginning. So don't feel like you have to do the whole 10K. You could just do the first bit. And then also, if you choose not to rent a car, there is a lot of different like excursion companies that provide transportation there and back. Like they'll pick you up and then have a set time of when they'll come back, or you can just contact them, or there's lots of ways to get. It's a very popular thing to do on the island, so you don't have to rent a car. This was just another contributing factor where we're like, okay, well now we can just like go there and come back whenever we want. So lots of different options. And then after we did the hike, we went back to Funchal, spent the rest of the time in town, just like eating and walking around, and then flew back to Lisbon the next day. So yeah. So in Lisbon, we once again had a hostel booked, but we just decided, this is the last leg of the trip. Let's just spend the rest of our money to get a hotel. So we actually stayed at Woot, New Lisbon, because we liked Woot in Lagos so much. We decided to go for a bit of a cheaper option where we got our private room, but we did a shared bathroom. So it just made it a little bit cheaper, especially since we decided to change our mind so last minute. But it was great. It's a really cool spot if you're looking for a hostel or like doing what we did. And they also have private rooms. It was in a great location. Lisbon is very easy to get around by walking, but there's so many hills. So if something says it's like a 10-minute walk away, it's probably a 10-minute walk, but it's like this. Probably like there's so many hills, which always gets me in Lisbon. Gotta love the hills. But there's lots of fun things to do there. There's the Pink Street, which is like the street that has all the umbrellas on top with the pink sidewalks, which is always cool. Time Out Market is a really big market that has a lot of good local Portuguese food. You gotta get like, I forget what they're called, but they're like the little Portuguese pastries. They're so good. There's Mirando de Santa Luisa. So that's a really beautiful lookout spot that has this beautiful pink tree. It has a beautiful lookout over the ocean and just over Lisbon. And they have a really cool little spot called Bar Terrego de Santa Luisa. It's a cute little bar kind of hidden off to the side that has a beautiful lookout over the lookout and then over Portugal and the ocean. So we got just like some sangria there, which was really nice. The LX factory is a little bit of a walk away, but it's a really cool spot to go check out. There's so many rooftop bars and restaurants in Lisbon. We ended up going to one called the Art Inn, and it had a beautiful view over the St. George Castle and over just the town, and got some food and a drink there. But there's so many. Like what we would do is we'd be walking around and then just look out near me, and then we would go there and there would be some kind of cool rooftop patio or some kind of cool coffee shop around there. There's also the Belém Tower, which is a big thing to see in Lisbon. It's actually not like right in Lisbon. You gotta we usually, like the time I went was 5 years ago and we had to take like a little bus there, but it's definitely like a cool spot to see in Lisbon for sure. And then there's Castelo de St. George. That's another main thing to do in Lisbon. I went there 5 years ago and then didn't go again this time, but it has a beautiful view of the whole city of Lisbon, and it also is just like really cool to see the castle and see that history. So definitely recommend doing that for sure. It was really cool to walk around the towers and everything. It was beautiful. And then there's obviously the main square, so Praia Do Camilo. That's like the main kind of square with the big arch and like all the restaurants all around. I'll link in a bunch of photos. So definitely got to stop by there. Yeah, like just so many beautiful lookouts, so much great food, so much great culture. I do really love Lisbon. But my favorite spots in Portugal is definitely the Algarve and Madeira Island. And then I've heard so many people say that there's so many great like little beach towns just outside of Lisbon as well. I've never had the chance to check them out, but I'm sure those would be also amazing. But yeah, I love Portugal. It's one of my favorite countries, and I'm super excited for you guys to be able to go check it out. So that's all for now. Thanks for stopping by. Like and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if there's any other countries you'd love for me to share about. I'm probably gonna move on to a couple other places in Europe next. So yeah, thanks for watching.